The boomers are facing diapers and dementia.
The landscape of retirement is shifting beneath the feet of the baby boomer generation. With almost 75 million boomers across the United States nearing retirement age by 2030, it's shocking that nearly half of them have no retirement.
God is good all the time, all the time. God is good. The boomers are facing diapers and dementia. Talk about karma. Watch the end of the video to fully understand the implications of this situation, why the boomers are facing poverty and extraordinary rates of destitution. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the very first video.
Going to retire. This is real. The boomers are going to retire. Now, they don't want to. They don't want to. And we have some articles we'll talk about later in the show where the boomers actually don't want the world to continue. A friend of mine sent me this border thing. This is so hilarious. Over Instagram, and was basically like, she sent me this article like, are we going to have a civil war? And she goes, what an exciting time to be alive. They are giddy at the prospect of the entire American experiment failing and the civilization going dark. Boomers are ebullient at.
Now, guys, he is 100% right regarding the boomers. And just to let you know, this video comes from the Tim Dillon Show. His channel is linked in the description. The boomers are absolutely giddy over every other generation not being able to survive without, after their passing. They want to take everyone with them. Let me just make this clear. I saw a comment from one of my subscribers saying that the boomers refuse to die. And it feels like they've been here forever and like they're not going anywhere. I had one boomer threaten me, basically saying that not all boomers have one foot in the grave and they have a lot of power amongst them. And, I better watch my mouth because they're going to sort me out. This is the type of people that we're dealing with. On one hand, they get pissed off and blame everyone else when people say you're responsible for everything. And they're like, it wasn't us. All right. It was the man behind the curtain. But then when you basically say, nah, you guys suck, they then turn around and say, we have a lot of power and we'll deal with you. They're tyrants. They're absolutely tyrants. And they get a kick. They absolutely get a kick seeing generations suffer. There was an article I came across where the boomers it was written by a boomer claiming that, oh my gosh, the millennials and Gen Z actually have more wealth than boomers did at this time in their life. They're the luckiest generation. They're the luckiest generations ever. Jesus help us. Guys, the corruption of these people is so significant. It's unbelievable how corrupt they are. All right. And it's endless. It is 100% endless with them.
They are sitting around pubs and casual restaurants, and they're sitting at country clubs, and they are actually very excited about the prospect of civilization crumbling because they are at the end of their life. The boomers never wanted their children to have better lives than they did, ever. The boomers were threatened by their children. The boomers viewed their children as obstacles to their own success and fulfillment. But this is all true. And the more I observe these boomers, which I have for my entire life, and I'm really keying in on it now, what I'm noticing is that they're kind of a death cult. They are ready to usher in the apocalypse, and they're doing it gleefully. They're holding on to all the houses and all the money. We have an article here, 80% of the stock market, 80% of the stock market is owned by elderly people, boomers. They can sell it and trigger a downturn. Here we go. Your grandma is a downside risk to the stock market. How more old people owning equities could exacerbate a downturn? The boomers are holding the American economy hostage.
80% of the stock market is owned by the baby boomers. You cannot tell me that is not absolutely psychotic. Okay? They own so much of the stock market, and yet they own most of the wealth. They own the entire stock market. They can trigger, and they know exactly how to do it. They are so desperate. They don't want us to, guys, they don't want a better future for us. They've never wanted a better future for us. It's always been about them. George Carlin warned us back in the 90s about them. He warned us. He was a member of the silent generation. Okay? He was a comedian, but in reality, he was a philosopher. And he was telling us about how things worked in America and how monopolies had taken over the country. And he came to the boomers and he told us about the boomers. He told us exactly who they were. All right. Back when they were in their 30s and 40s, he told us exactly who they were. I'm in my 40s now. All right. And he told us who the boomers were, even when they were younger than I am now. And he said exactly what these people were doing and exactly what these people were up to. He warned us about them. And he said that they want it all. They want all the cookies for themselves, and they want to make the life harder for younger people. They treated Gen X like crap. They blamed Gen X for everything back in the 80s. They said that Gen X was using drugs, and it was like just absolute BS. Like Gen X is like 13. All right. And because the boomers didn't want to own up to it, that it was their cocaine, it wasn't their little brother's cocaine. It wasn't Joey's cocaine. All right. It was Brad's cocaine. It was Brad's cocaine. All right. They didn't want to own up to the fact that that they were up to this stuff. All right. They did so much bad and they've done so much evil in this world. And now there's increasing rates of homelessness and dementia amongst them. And guys, I mean, the wickedness of this entire generation of people who don't care about anyone else but themselves has destroyed life for everyone. Has absolutely destroyed life for everyone. And of course, again, they don't care. There's a video from the Smart Retiree that kind of and I'm going to play a little bit of it. This link and his channel's link description. It kind of points out why the boomers are rapidly ending up homeless, because many of them never actually prepared for retirement, even though they hold most of the nation's wealth.
To make matters worse, they're becoming the fastest growing generation facing homelessness. What went wrong, and how did their dream of relaxing golden years crumble so tragically? After decades of hard work, many boomers imagined their retirement as sipping margaritas on the coast or cruising down the Miami freeway. But the financial reality paints a different picture. One where the traditional 3 sources of retirement income, Social Security, pensions, and personal savings have all but faltered. Let's delve into how this has impacted baby boomers' financial security. The first source is personal savings. In an ideal world, after working for 4 or 5 decades, retirees should have a decent nest egg to withdraw from once they stop working. But that's not the case. Astonishingly, between 45 to 50% of baby boomers don't have any retirement savings at all. And of those who do, less than 30% have less than $100,000 saved. This amount seems substantial until you consider that the average retiree aged over 65 spends about $53,000 annually. With rising medical expenses and basic living costs, that savings pool drains rapidly.
You guys, they're screwed. They're absolutely screwed. Okay? So while they hold most of the nation's wealth, even receiving Social Security, a lot of them are screwed. All right, they're going to receive a small check and try to live off it, and most of their meager savings are going to go quickly, and it's going to go on things like healthcare. It's going to go on a variety of things. It's going to go rapidly, especially with rising costs. These people did a lot of evil and did a lot of evil to their kids, and now they're turning around and trying to use their kids, trying to get their kids to subsidize their living. Don't be shocked if the boomers try to pass a law that requires their children to subsidize their living. This is what, guys, this is one of the most evil in the group of people I've ever seen in my entire life, where you would take your, like, guys, I saw a comment from one of my subscribers, and he said, the boomers stole our futures while we were still in diapers, and now we'll steal it back when they're in diapers. And really, it's like, oh my gosh. Guys, they taught us about nothing. Guys, we learned literally nothing in school. We didn't learn about inflation. We didn't learn about law, the legal system. American history and all this crap. The boomers took out things like shop class out of school. They took out all the home economics and they replaced it with a bunch of BS. You know the reason why they did this? Because they wanted to turn us into good, obedient employees. All of those universities, that was basically boomer cash right there, all right? Convincing us, demanding that we go to college and get these extremely expensive degrees, and then buttering us up and telling us that this was a path to an easy life, and shaming us, and having us shame each other. Guys, we used to talk so much crap. You know you did it too. Y'all know you did it too. All right? That went to college. All right? A lot of us Gen Xers, a lot of the older millennials, you know what I'm talking about. We were talking crap about the white guys that used to wear the flannel and used to do blue collar work. All right? Because like those guys, everyone used to talk crap about those white guys. Oh my gosh, you're gonna end up like those guys. All right? You're gonna end up like those guys scraping roofs and doing welding. All right, look at these poor guys. Look at these poor white guys. All right, all those white guys now have houses, multiple properties, and no student loan debt. Okay, all of those white guys are living the so-called American dream, while all of us overeducated idiots are saddled down with massive amounts of student loan debt, just wondering where the decades went. The boomers sold us out. They sold us out. The truth of the matter is that many of us should have went to trade school, got a trade before we ever thought about stepping foot into a university. But the boomers knew exactly what they were doing. All right? They wanted to create a new generation of wage slaves that would be forced for the rest of their lives to subsidize their living. For example, all of that student loan debt, basically you're going to have to work for the rest of your life just to pay the interest on these loans that will then go towards paying for the boomers' entitlements. It's a level of insanity. It's an absolute level of insanity. And who did this? The boomers did it to us. The boomers did it to us. Guys, many of them are rapidly ending up homeless and destitute. And as you can see, 50% of all boomers, 45 to 50% of all boomers have no savings at all. And 30% of those individuals that do have some savings, they only have around $100,000 at most, which is not enough to get them through all of retirement. All right? These people did a lot of bad. They did a lot of bad. They did a lot of bad. They did a lot of bad. And they know it, but they don't care, because that's how narcissists work. That's how narcissists operate. Guys, you're going to see a ton of people, a ton of them becoming homeless. They're the fastest growing generation of homeless people. All right? They're rapidly becoming homeless, and no one's going to bail them out, and no one's going to feel sorry for them. I'm not crying for these people. Are you? Are you crying for them? By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. And also subscribe to the Angry Guy Clips channel, where we post shorter videos and video responses. And also the Angry Guy Live channel, where we live stream. Both channels are linked in the description. And finally, guys, protect your behind. Protect your butts. All right? Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Click the link in the description to get started and support the channel. What do you think regarding all of this, guys? The boomers are facing diapers and dementia. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, and walking away. And cheers.